It's what podcast is this? Did we even say that?
You didn't say.
What podcast is it? 66.
68?
67.
No, there's no way it's
Pulling this
67.
red podcast, episode 67.
Can you loop that and make it in the front?
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah.
It'll be there. What if we put one of these on each side? Would I be in stereo?
Are you not in stereo now?
Am I in stereo? How can I be in stereo if I only have one
How
microphone?
about 4K?
It's running stereo.
How about
Can we go
18K?
4K. 5K? We're at 5K now, aren't we?
Why can I see my breath? Why is it this fucking cold in
Because
here?
you're running a meat locker up in here.
Why? How come I can't just buy a fucking AC system? When I put the number,
It stays
that's
there.
the number I want it to stay at. Whether it needs
Mine
heat
does.
or cold,
Mine does that.
it just keeps it at that temperature. Isn't that how a
supposed
air
to.
conditioner's supposed to work? It just keeps it at the temperature you put in there.
Mine keeps 68 degrees constantly.
I walked in here and I'm like, it's 32 degrees in here.
Could be. It's cold. I mean, you're wearing a hoodie.
How'd you
so-
get paint all over you?
Yeah, what were you painting?
Bedroom and trim.
Trim. What's that code word for?
Toenails.
Toenails. What's up? Are you up on current events?
Like, depends on what you mean by current events.
Do you know that?
Are you? What's up with you, bro?
Why? What?
Did you have a moment of silence? I'm sure you had a moment of silence. Brandel, you probably, motherfucker.
Are you talking about P. Diddy?
You probably should leave the country.
Who are we talking
You
about?
probably should leave. We're talking about your boy, P. Diddy.
That's not my boy.
Your boy, P. Diddy.
I'm
What's
more
up?
boys with 50 Cent. And
Yeah,
50
hey.
Cent's blasting the shit out of P. Diddler.
Hey, you better.
PP Diddler.
They'll be coming here next.
Okay, you want my theory?
What's your theory?
You know the airplane took off, right?
His airplane.
Okay, first of all, how did all the news crews, how did all of the media crews know that the feds were about to execute a warrant? They just happened to have all their cameras there. They rolled in 34 vehicles.
No, let's be clear.
Okay,
Let's be clear. P. Diddy is part of
them.
He's part of that organization.
Yes,
The feds told him they were coming.
yes, absolutely. That's where I'm going. Exactly.
They told him they were coming.
Yes, they told them they were coming. 34 fucking vehicles roll up. 2 of them are armored.
Yeah, they did the whole.
The whole fucking the FBI SRT goes in
Yeah.
and they're multicam, all matchy match. They did look good. They grab his fucking 2 sons, handcuff them, and walk them out backwards like they're a threat. In front of course, for the cameras. Diddler's somewhere in a hotel room. There's another news crew who has video of him off location. And the whole thing is, his private jet has taken off. And guess where the jet's flying to?
A non-extradition.
Country. Who else happened to have a residence there?
Who?
Epstein. He's heading to the same island chain, right? So the theory is that the servers and all of the blackmail material is on board the aircraft. And the thought is they're not after P. Diddy. They want all the documentation. Have you seen all the videos coming out of
It's DHS that is doing it, not DOJ.
So you
There's
think
been no-
So you think it's legit?
No, it's DHS that's doing it, not.
Because they're
DOJ,
actually going
so-
after the real pedophiles?
It's Homeland Security. Okay, I want you to think about this. They did the same thing at Epstein's Island. They spent days pulling things out of Epstein Island. You know what we've
Yes.
found out about Epstein Island?
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. Yes.
Have you seen the guy sneaking in and they're like,
Yeah.
Epstein's on the island?
Yeah. They have flight logs, but the flight logs didn't come from Epstein's Island. So they have the flight logs. Flight logs have to be published. That's why we know who was actually visiting, but we don't have any of the documentation that was at Epstein Island. If, in fact, P. Diddy and group have any hard drives, black boxes, blah, 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 it's DHS. We will never see any of it.
Can we, from here on out, can we just use some legal jargon for a minute?
Okay, what?
From here on out, he will be referred to as the Diddler. As we say Diddler, we mean P. Diddy.
The Diddler?
At all. Yeah.
Maybe.
Can we just
Diddler?
add that in there?
If you want to. I mean, he's your boy.
The Diddler. Have you seen all the videos coming out? There's a ton of footage people are resurrecting of him with Justin Bieber. And he's like, Justin Bieber's here hanging out at my place. We're doing some undisclosed things that we can't talk about. It's a dream come true for 15-year-olds. And he's like, he's signed to Usher, but I had custody of Usher as Usher was growing up. And like, there's just, and dude, 50 Cent's just blasting out, having a blast with his shit.
The issue, I mean, the issue there in that particular scenario, let's say it's true. Let's say it's true.
Do you think there's any possibility it's not true?
Let's say it's true. I mean, there's always a possibility it's not true. But let's say it's true, and P. Diddy and crew have been grooming kids since the
You know that's not what they're saying.
80s.
That's not what he's accused of.
The male dude that the last lawsuit was the last lawsuit that he has against him is a male rapper who specifically says that P. Diddy was grooming him.
Okay, well, it's way beyond that.
I know it's way beyond that. But what I'm saying is,
they were drugging people.
Yeah, let's say it's true. Let's say it's 100% true. Okay. I mean, you can be like 50 Cent is cool because he's throwing this out there, but 50 Cent knew it was going on years ago.
Yeah, they all do.
It's not that, and so
you're
not
like,
a hero.
Just like Oprah said, Epstein. Just like Oprah said, Harry Weinstein and Epstein and them. She was providing girls to them.
You're not a hero.
Yeah, everybody knew.
You're not a hero if you come out today when DHS is arresting the guy and saying, "Oh, we knew he was doing that shit." That makes you culpable. That makes you part of the fucking problem, whether you were doing it or not. Meaning, if you were legit, well, say 50 Cent. If 50 Cent is legit and just being a hardworking motherfucker like he tries to do. If he knew about it and he didn't say anything about it, he's just as culpable as the motherfucker doing it.
I think a lot of them did say some shit about it. It just fucking gets squashed.
But yeah, if DHS is involved, it becomes a matter of national security. We're not going to see any of that evidence. They're going to come out with some shit where they'll be like, I don't know. Here's a picture of.
So my question
of R. Kelly peeing on P. Diddy with a 12-year-old. He's going to jail.
So the female in the lawsuit against Diddy, which came out, or it was brought back up a couple of weeks ago, she said she was drugged, gang raped, and that's how her career started. And there's a bunch of others. Mm-hmm. The question is, well, there's a huge amplification on the P. Diddy shit right now. What are we not fucking paying attention? What are they doing, right? They passed the spending bill at midnight on Friday.
Of course.
You know what was in there?
I don't know, money for everybody.
I have a list. Where did my list come? Can I have my list? I have a list. But in that list, they did the Red Flag Law Foundation Center or whatever. Guess who's in charge of that? Do you really not know this?
No.
Oh, Kamala Harris is in charge. I mean, but we don't have to worry about it. She'll do as good a job as she did at the border.
I mean, putting her in charge of
So $100 million.
Anything is more dangerous to the thing.
$100 million. And it's for education for doctors, therapists, school teachers, counselors on how to find red flag crisis type people, how to have conversations with school kids about whether mom and dad have guns, stuff like that.
$100 million. Kamala Harris is involved, and you're talking about disseminating that money across the country.
I hear you.
That's a fucking drop in the bucket, and chances are it's never going to make it out of the federal agencies. By the time
it'll just be grafted.
It's just going to be grafted. It's just theft. That's all. They're not going to.
Okay, so here's a few other things out of the $1.2 trillion spending bill. $850,000 for gay senior citizen center in Massachusetts. $15 million for Egyptian college tuitions. $400,000 for a group that helps teens hide their gender. They didn't say who that was. $500,000 for anti-racist nature appreciation group at the San Diego Zoo. $300 million to unknown. European Union approved a ban on this is something else here. Did you hear the European Union just banned cryptocurrencies in the form that it is now illegal to have a anonymous wallet. So you could take your cryptocurrency off of an exchange, move it onto a device,
but they need to know.
Now they
need to know how much money you have in there because they're going to tax assess it.
Yep, and now you cannot have any transaction person to person over $3,000. Cannot happen
in Europe.
In Europe, has to be multiple transactions, and a business cannot have any customer that gets billed or paid over $10,000. It has to be broken into multiple transactions. I don't know why that would be, because there obviously is a record of it anyways, just as there is here.
I don't care. Europe's about to go into World War III, so
Do you really think that?
yeah,
Who do you think's going to be in the World War III?
everybody in Europe.
Who do you think? What's going to be the catalyst?
It's going to be Ukraine. It's going to be Ukraine falling apart, and then the either the Germans or the Poles are going to get involved, and that's going to bring all the NATO forces into play.
But what do we give a shit because the NATO forces are only in the United States?
Well, no, they're not. NATO forces are all the European countries, but again,
Right, but
there's no. It's a gumless, toothless tiger.
yeah,
unless
it's like 10 people fighting fucking a million people.
unless it's a. Well, the problem is that's how you get dragged into it.
So France,
Yeah,
what's France going to do?
probably send the Legion.
Right. France going to send the Legion
Or send the
they won't allow in their own fucking country, but
Probably
they're going to send the Legion.
I would be scared of the Legion.
I would absolutely.
I wouldn't want the Legion in front of me. Those guys don't give a shit.
I would definitely want the Legion on my side.
They don't give a
I am
shit.
not shit talking the Legion at all.
I wouldn't want the Legion.
Mad respect.
Yeah. So, anyways, I don't know. I mean, who knows? Who knows? You know.
What about
maybe
these
they're-
fucking
we're all
F-16s? So the F-16s are there, and they have now apparently trained the pilots, and the pilots are ready to fly these F-16s. So how long till the F-16s that the United States has provided? How long till some F-16 hit some Russian targets? Because that's what I keep hearing about.
Well, here's the thing: the F-16.
And are they actually not United States pilots flying the F-16s?
No, they won't be U.S. pilots. That's the. I mean, okay. When I say
that's too far past the line.
When I say they won't be U.S. pilots, there's not to say there's not an expat over there that might be flying those things, but again, it is too far behind the line. If you think about it, the way they get these aircraft, like the F-16s, it's not like we went, hey, roll some F-16s off the.
Right,
off
it's the ones nobody else wanted.
It's third parties that sell these weapon systems to, even the F-18s. They were talking about F-18s. They were talking about getting them from fucking.
It's like when Tom Cruise has to steal the old F-14 from Bosnia.
Right. So, the thing about that is that, again, I know the pilots are going to be like, oh my God, is the F-16 is not a ground attack aircraft. While it can hold bombs and it can drop bombs, it's not really a ground attack aircraft. It's a fighter jet that's supposed to shoot down other planes. So when do we see, the better question is, when do we see air-to-air combat with an F-16 and a Russian, whatever, who knows what the Russians are using now, MiG-21s. When do we see that happen? And
the Russians always have better paint jobs.
The more important thing, again, is who cares, really? We didn't send enough. And those aircraft, I promise you, are just like the M1 Abrams we sent over there. They're fucking stripped down. They're bare bones. And the question is going to be what happens when one of them gets shot down. Because it only makes us look like shit.
Why would Germany jump into this like this?
I think it's just...
because of history?
The Germans just...
like to fight?
They just feel like they got to get in people's business. I mean, again, they don't have a choice. They did
pretty well last time.
But you're talking about a totally different Germany. You're talking about
I'm with you.
You're talking about a totally different Germany. You're talking about
you're talking about a Germany that won't even speak about their fucking history.
Yeah, but you're also talking about a Germany that spends no money on its national defense. It has a stripped down military. While they are ramping up. They're nowhere near ready to go to war with another nation.
How about Poland?
Poland is ready. Poland since the Iron Curtain fell, Poland has been ramping up. But again, NATO as a whole, not just one particular country, NATO as a whole, they don't have the equipment or personnel to put in a world war. They just don't have it. They don't have that stuff ready to go. And so it is probably the reason why Poland has not stepped in already. If it's not us saying, motherfuckers, you better stay out of it.
So Germany, their natural gas is turned off?
Probably. I mean, they went woke and they went broke.
So they're trying to stand up all their nuke facilities
Yes.
again. They turned them all off years ago. They've been relying on natural gas. Their natural gas has been shut off because
it's part of the
blew
pipeline
up.
that
They
we
blew
blew
up. The United States blew up. So there's dudes cutting down trees. There's huge swaths of forests that are just gone. People are burning books. They're burning furniture. They're standing in the line 48 hours to get coal, literally to get a 5-gallon bucket of coal. Now, I question when you see this, like your first instinct is, oh, the shit is really bad, right? But then having been in the United States and seen during the riots in Kenosha and stuff, when you looked at an aerial view, it's one street, right? The media would have you believe that every worker at McDonald's is on strike, right? But when you see the aerial view, it's actually 12 paid actors. It's not even employees.
Yeah, I don't believe that it is that bad in Germany.
You don't?
No, I don't believe it is. I mean, where they're I have a real good friend who was just there, so I don't believe that they're. It's standing in line for toilet paper and coal.
What was your friend doing there?
Tourist. Yeah, tourist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just touring. So
did he bring anything back?
I don't know. I have to ask him. He sent me a picture of there's a special bridge over there that during the Cold War was where they call it. Is it the Spy Bridge? He's gonna yell at me because I don't know it. But it's the bridge where the spies would go back and forth between the Eastern Bloc countries and France, I think. Nope, Germany maybe.
Have you seen all the urban exploration stuff over there, man? Watching those channels, you would think that there's a tunnel system everywhere.
There is a tunnel system everywhere.
That's fucking awesome.
Everywhere.
They've got those big, huge structures that I don't know what they were even using them for. These big. They used to have guns in them and stuff, and now they're like apartment buildings and shit and nightclubs and stuff.
Yeah, there's tunnels and...
There's a dude, all he does is like urban explore Germany.
Tunnels and bunkers and all over Europe because, again, there was 2 world wars fought there, so you
and they've closed these things off. He'll have an air shaft, and you're like, where the fuck is he going with a shovel? And all of a sudden it breaks through, and he's underground, and there's like full-blown aircraft like manufacturing facility under there and shit. You would think they'd be having that opened for tours and shit. I mean, it would draw people from all over the world to see it.
Yeah. Some places do that.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. What about your ship crash, your bridge?
I don't know. I know what you know about it. I haven't seen shit. Like when I first saw it, I'm like, that looks like explosives, like everybody said. And then I read some comments. They're like, yeah, those are the electrical places, because wires go across there. Yeah, I mean, it seems like I default to your thing, right? Who benefits from this? So if the bridge, they say that this thing, the ship lost power, it immediately tried to reboot. They dropped the anchor on one side. Now this ship has had some other incidents. It's actually had some other accidents. Company owns the ship, is super woke. They got a bunch of non-performance people that shouldn't be in those positions. Who knows what was on the ship? I did read through some of the comments on a few of them, and somebody's like, my brother-in-law is actually on the ship. I don't know. It was supposed to head up to Africa or somewhere. That bridge is gone. They're saying that the bridge is in the water. Nothing can get in and out of port until that bridge is cleared, apparently. Yeah. They had hooked one tug to it, and there's people that are like, yeah, that's normal procedure. Other people, I mean, you can hear any theory that you want. The fact is the bridge is down. That port is closed. They're saying 4 months until they can even get the bridge where it can have traffic go across.
That would be badass if they can do it in 4 months because
there's
lost.
No fucking way they're doing that in 4 months.
They lost a huge span of that bridge.
They can't build a bridge across fucking in Nashville in 4 months.
So they lost a huge span.
They haven't finished the bridge in Waverly. I mean, and it's not even underwater. So
that'd be if they can get anything going across that in 4 months.
But what you're going to hear is supply chain, and here I need to tax. Like during COVID, we were getting a line item tax on every COVID tax, everything that came in. Fuel surcharge. That shit doesn't go away. They just stop itemizing it. It'll just be another reason for lack of performance. When the bitch you order some shit from doesn't ship your stuff, it's going to be like, oh yeah, came through the port. Like, no, it didn't. But who knows, man? I think that it's Atlas Shrugged. We did a live with American Homestead yesterday, or American Prepper. I like that dude's stuff. I follow his shit. And he's like, yeah, it's Atlas Shrugged. I go, I hadn't thought about that, but maybe that is it. The qualified people are tired of dealing with the unqualified, and they have just stepped away, and they're like, look, I'm old enough. I don't have to do this. I've got enough money. I can go start my own thing. I mean, think about like John Carver when he sold Eagle to ATK, right? What did he do? He got a lot of money. Mike Knoll got a lot of money. Chris Osmond, he got a lot of money, and they just went aside and quietly started another company without the cumbersome and without the bullshit and without the government contracts. And they kind of they made their money. They got a huge, like John got, I mean, probably not enough. I think I heard his was 8 million and I heard Eagle or Blackhawk was like 40 million or something. I don't know what Chris got, but they just stepped aside. And maybe that's what's happening. These guys are just tired of dealing with dipshits. Step aside. Like people are like, what would you do if your building burnt down? I'm like, it'd be a whole lot easier come Monday. I mean, think about it. You have that emotional attachment to all that. I got 3 other buildings full of shit we moved here with. Fuck, if a tornado wiped it away, we'd move a lot faster. The people are like, what would you do different on your property? I'm like, I wouldn't put the fucking building where it's at. I'd put it towards the back. I mean, I'd have the building up front and build some other shit. You know, it wouldn't be in the middle right there.
Yeah.
So,
or I think, because we talked about this before, that COVID. So COVID pushed.
It showed people that they don't need to do the things that they've been having to do.
Well, okay, this is what I'm going to say, is this country has relied on baby boomers for a long fucking time. When everybody's out there complaining
and they killed a bunch of them.
But when everybody's out there complaining about, Congress or baby boomer this or that, those motherfuckers are the ones who have been running this country for years.
Your mics are too good.
Meaning not just...
Pause a second.
Yeah, baby boomers. So you have baby boomers running the country as far as, everything. Power, nuclear, everything that's going on. There's an old dude in the back who knows how to flip the switches and push the buttons and shit, right?
Yep.
And then COVID happened. And a lot of the people that were at most risk were those baby boomers. And a lot of them were like, fuck it. I'm going to go to Florida and move into the retirement place and just have unprotected sex with all my
That's
old
why
friends.
The STDs are running through the retirement
right?
communities.
So they leave. Well, the only people to replace them is the younger generation. And unfortunately, they don't know the sequence. And not only do they not know the sequence, but they also think because they're younger that they can do it better. And so they are learning the mistakes that the baby boomers learned in the 50s.
So I heard, I think it was Bet David talking about somebody. He said he had a comment on, he has an app called Minect. You could be on Minect and you set your price. It's $1 a minute, $100 a minute, whatever it is. And people get to actually have a conversation with you about whatever they want. Kind of like Patreon, but you do video conferences or phone calls with them. And this Minect app it's pretty awesome, actually, it seems. But he said he had a phone call with a man who's he's the CEO of a company that his father founded, but his father's still involved in the company. And he's like, I want to do these things and I want to change these things, but dad's stuck in the old ways. And he goes, look, what you don't understand is your father started this company 50 years ago. He put in all the toil. What you think you know right now, you weren't there for the foundation. Like I have dudes that are like, why are we doing this way? I go, here's what you don't realize. We do this way. Like I got a guy, chickens. We'll do the chickens, for instance, right? I've got 2 guys who I've taken out and I've shown them how to do the farm work. And then I went out there and they're doing the farm work all out of pattern and shit. And I go, the reason we do it this way, if you do it clockwise, the ATV stops. This is the first stop right here. We feed this coop, this coop, this coop, this coop, this coop. These are the new birds right here. These eggs are dirtier. You're going to pick those eggs up. I want those eggs fed to the dogs. I don't want these eggs mixed in because the feed we're feeding to them, I don't want going to humans. So if you do it clockwise all the time, but when you turn your back and they're not, they don't understand the processes and why it's there. So it takes a minute to explain it and then pass that. So it's just simple shit like that.
Well, that's it. Is that there's what people don't realize is they think that they're going to come up with. If you're new, you think you're going to come up. You
always have.
People only believe. It's not that they only believe this, but most people believe that the only history that there ever is the history that they've lived in, and so they don't look at the past and be like, okay, there's probably a really good reason why we do it the way we're doing it. Maybe I don't know that, but they think
Because there's no communication.
I'm smarter. I know better. I'm going to do this thing. It's kind of like, like in the AR-15 world. We got rid of the carrying handles because everybody wanted Picatinny rails. And then we started putting risers on. And then we started putting higher risers on. And now they have these fucking high-ass risers on the AR-15s for heads-up shooting because that's what all the new kids want to do. It's exactly the same height as a fucking carrying handle now. We went full circle with the upper receiver on an AR-15 because
you see it
because somebody knew
every 10 years they bring the mountain rug back.
Yeah, because somebody knew how to do it better, right? Yeah. They're like, this is a better way to do this. But now you're doing the exact same thing that Delta was doing in the 80s.
I mean, you see it with the LBVs, right? Everything went armor and slick and 4 mags. And now how long we've been making videos like, hey, 24 mags, 12 mags. Combat loadout 6 mag. No, motherfucker, it's not. In the 90s, the LBV held 6 mags and 2 grenades. But that's not, combat loadout goes out the window when you're in combat.
Yeah.
And now every fucking dude out there's like, what are you talking about? You have to have a minimum of 12 mags. Like,
and that's the other thing too. It's not a combat loadout. It's a logistical loadout. It's so they can figure out how much ammunition a infantry battalion is supposed to have peacetime.
Do you remember? So
no battalion has ever gone across the fucking line of departure in real combat with official combat loads. It's never happened.
Yeah, it's
never happened.
But the people, they just keep repeating shit they read on the internet, right? They've never actually been in combat. They've never left the fucking base.
If you're a truck driver in Al Assad, yes, 6 magazines is perfect for you because you're never going to use any. But,
we're talking about Bob, who knows how to turn the knobs and the valves and shit. We had some guys from TVA in here probably 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. So they blew up this power plant literally across the bridge here. Right. It literally exploded it, popped it down to the ground. So dude comes in, I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm working for a power plant. I'm like, where? He goes, 90 minutes up, up this way. I said, is that cool? Like, weren't you over here? He goes, we were over here. He goes, we have all kinds of problems. He goes, it's running on a natural gas. It's a General Electric plant. And he goes, every time we have some issue with it, we have to get a dude that comes from Japan. Like the tech comes from Japan. Right. He goes, at the other place, when we needed to ramp up power, we could just put more coal in it. And Bob on the third deck could open this valve, and Tim down here could open this dormer, and we could ramp power up to meet the demand of power. He said, on these plants, we can't do that. We can only ramp up so much. So it's always an issue.
A good example of that is the battleship New Jersey. When we brought it back online, when Reagan was like, yeah, military power, which
if you ever have to fight the aliens, you're going to need those old battleships. If you've ever seen that, I know the Navy hates them.
Navy hates them, and from a naval perspective, they are kind of a waste. But from a naval artillery, shore artillery, the fucking New Jersey, those battleships are so awesome. But anyways, you have the Navy. They recommissioned that ship. They got to bring in a fucking 78-year-old gunner from World War II to figure out how to operate that thing.
We had to bring in wasn't it a World War II guy we brought in here? For the flamethrower?
Maybe. I don't remember.
Yeah, he can't.
Vietnam, maybe?
No, he was older than a Vietnam dude.
Anyways, yeah.
Talking about those membranes and those seals and shit in there.
Yeah. That's the hard part with those old flamethrowers is those membranes and getting them hydroed properly.
Yeah, so you've got, and that's what the dude yesterday was saying. He's like, it's Atlas Shrugged, man. The people that put the systems in effect, the people that ran the companies, everything's signed on to BlackRock, Vanguard, and it's what is it, DLI, or what's the fucking thing called?
I don't know.
ESG. ESG bullshit. So he's like, I've made money. I can just let them have it. And that's what happened in Atlas Shrugged, right? They're like, well, you have to keep running these, you have to run these trains down these rails. He's like, but there's no factories. Why are we running these trains? Because we need to keep these 4 people involved. We need to keep them employed. And if we stop running these trains down here, and the owner's like, well, there's no town here. There's no factory. The factory's closed. Why are we running these supplies? Well, because we need to keep these people employed. Well, these people don't do anything. And that's how the whole fucking government is. But if you keep these people employed, the feds are going to give you all this money.
Yeah.
Well, we're paying these 4 guys. I can't hire these 4 guys that can actually do the fucking job.
Yeah, I think though it is more of a I think it is more of a cultural issue in the sense that you have an older generation that believes this is how things should work and this is how it gets done, and then you have a new generation of up and comers who believe not only do they believe that they're smarter, but they also are arrogant to the point that they don't think that the old guy is going to teach them how to use the shit or how to make it work, right? And so if you're the old guy, fuck him. Why would you? Why wouldn't you just retire and be like,
here you go.
I don't care if you know how to switch the switch. It's not going to affect me. I'm going to be down in Florida living the good life. So
did you see what Florida?
Yeah, they just put that through about social media.
14-year-olds.
Yeah.
14-year-old and under, no more social media.
Yeah.
I don't know how. Through? How can they enforce that shit?
I don't know how they can enforce it. I don't know how they can enforce it unless it's.
I like they're giving the parents the rights.
Unless it's more.
No new social media accounts until you're 14 years of age. So I'm guessing you have to have a state ID.
I guess they can enforce it though. The reality is if Cody's got a.
They know geofencing. I mean,
if he's got a YouTube channel or a fucking Instagram account, they're going to be able. Well, I mean, they do that now.
Didn't you have to put your driver's license in?
18 years old? No, I didn't have to put my driver's license in for anything. You just had to mark. They do it now for any gun thing when you're on the internet and you're like, let me buy some ammo. It's like, hey, dude, are you 18? And you have to click yes.
All right. Well, on all of my social medias, I've literally had to fucking scan my driver's license.
The only thing I had to do that for was PayPal, and
it's probably because I'm set up business.
When PayPal asked me for all the other shit, I was like, fuck you, I'm not giving you any of that other shit.
PayPal did some crazy shit.
You can suck it.
Like, people haven't really asked me about PayPal. They were asking a lot about PayPal. People like to use PayPal.
It's convenient.
It is, absolutely.
You know why it's convenient? Do you know why PayPal's convenient?
Why?
Because the smartest man in the world set it up.
Yeah.
That's why it's convenient.
So,
Elon, you need to go and fix Rumble.
So PayPal hit me up just out of the blue. Like I've had this PayPal account since 2005. Same account. I have so much PayPal that I have a dude I can call 24 hours a day. I don't call an 800 number. I have an account manager.
Will you call him and get mine fixed?
No. So out of the blue, I get these fucking emails from PayPal. It's like, hey bro, you've almost exceeded your incoming, not a spending limit, but like your incoming limit. I'm like, what are they fucking talking about? It was 48 grand had come through, and it was like the first week of the month. And they're like, your limit is 72,000. I'm like, oh, we're probably not putting that much through PayPal. And within a few days, they're like, you're at 70,000, your limit's 72,000. So I'm like, okay, I better read this shit. So I read through it, and they're like, we're going to hold all funds beyond your limit for 30 days that comes through. So it was coming up on the weekend, and we were at 120 grand. So at like $75,000, $72,000, they held that fucking money and would not release that fucking amount of money for 30 more days. So I'm like, fuck PayPal. We just uncoupled it and stopped pushing it through PayPal. I don't know that I don't see a dip in revenue. I haven't really looked at it greatly. But they do, man. We had customers last night like, hey, are you not using PayPal anymore? It's so easy to use. Because I think guys hide it from their wives, and you just have money coming.
No, it's really just easy.
It is easy,
It's a one-click thing. It's easy to use.
Cash App is too.
It's easy to use. The problem with Cash App is
nobody takes Cash App.
Nobody
on the
uses
fucking
Cash
groups.
App.
Yeah,
that's the only problem I have with Cash App is super easy once you get it set up. But
more people are You know who owns Cash App?
I hope Elon.
PayPal.
Oh, fuck.
You know who owns Venmo?
They're going to ruin it.
You know who owns Venmo? PayPal.
They're going to ruin it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's by design. They buy that up so you don't have other options.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. That's just everything, right? You think you're at First Bank, but you're really not.
Right. There's only 5 banks that own all the banks.
Yeah, really
too big to fail.
Too big to fail.
So what do you think's up with the bridge? What's your opinion?
I don't know.
Who benefits?
Initially, when I saw the video, they were showing a very small section of it.
And then I saw the big video where
they did the big section, and
here's what they don't want you to see.
You've got 100 yards of bridge that went down that's nowhere near where the boat hit, that pylon. I don't know. Can a boat do? I mean, let's be clear. an aircraft carrier hit the San Francisco Bay Bridge?
It did?
And it didn't.
Because that's exactly what I was just thinking. It was Golden Gate. What would it take to drop the Golden Gate?
I believe it was the. I know the Navy guys are going to get all nuts. For some reason, I think it was the Kitty Hawk. It probably wasn't.
Is that 63?
I don't know what number it is, but I feel like it's the Kitty
North
Hawk.
Island.
It was a long, long time ago. But again, it didn't even scratch the paint. This little motherfucker took a whole bridge out. So was the bridge just a piece of shit anyways? And when they say that the boat lost power, again...
Well, they're saying that's cyber attack.
Again, when they say the boat lost power, you can clearly see as it is turning into the bridge, you can see heavy smoke coming out of the stack. So it was not like it lost power. It was like somebody had their foot on the gas. How fast was it going when it hit? I mean, the reality is, they're in the harbor, right? And because they're in the harbor, there's a speed limit. So how many knots could they actually have been going? 14 knots maybe? Is 14 knots enough to take out that much fucking bridge? Maybe so. Again, I'm not a structural engineer, but I know if I was going to blow that bridge up, we'd have used a shit ton more explosives than what hit that bridge. But
so there's a lot of people saying that it was pre-planned, right? Well, just like the towers, right? It was an operation. They came in and put cutting charges.
Right. Well, I don't believe any of that.
Who benefits from that?
I don't know.
Other than just chaos and if you're going to run an operation like that, you're not going to drop one bridge. You're going to drop fucking all. Again,
I don't believe that it was a. I don't believe that it was like an official sanctioned hit on that bridge.
Somebody said, "I wonder what was on the bridge. What went in the water?
Did you see
what was lost and recovered?"
The crazy thing is,
are we going to find out there was a dump trucks full of gold or something?
Well, the crazy thing is there was a in the interview that I saw this morning that they were doing, the fire department was doing, is they said that they knew 6 people were in the water, possibly 8.
7, and they were working on the
bridge. On the bridge. Okay, he says that they were working on the bridge. They recovered 2 people in the water. One refused medical treatment, and the other one had to go to the hospital. But in that same sentence, he said sonar has picked up vehicles on the bridge. Well, they don't talk about any of the vehicles on the bridge. So were people driving across the bridge when this fucking happened?
There were people driving across the bridge.
7 doesn't make sense.
You think it's too low of a number?
Yeah, I know it was 3:00 in the morning, but still, that's a busy fucking thoroughfare there.
I think it was 1:30 in the morning.
So I mean, I don't know who benefits. I don't know. The contractors that are going to rebuild that bridge. The interesting thing though is, did you see the interview where they brought the mayor out?
I did not. Did you see Buttigieg?
I didn't see Buttigieg, but
he said it's because it's because of racism and the name of the bridge, and like he tied all that bullshit.
Of course he did, because he's an idiot. But the mayor, he's like, I mean, I'm sure he's not, but he seems like he's like 20 years old. Like they did the typical, I wish they would stop doing this shit, but they did the typical briefing where they're like, I want to thank the first responders and God bless America, and just get to the point. Just tell us what the fuck happened. I don't need 30 minutes of you praising first responders. That's what they do.
It's your job. You signed up for it.
Anyways, it's ridiculous a little bit.
You want to see a crazy interview? Go back and watch the interview with the FBI and the mayor of Nashville when the AT&T building was struck with the missile. When the Tomahawk on Christmas Eve hit the AT&T
building. You mean the camper RV?
That's their story.
Camper RV?
Just watch the interview between the mayor and the FBI guys.
Yeah.
Fucking bizarre.
I haven't seen it. I mean, it was a bizarre reality. It was a bizarre scenario anyways.
So Trump's worth a few $1 billion more now?
Of course.
Overnight?
Of course. Thank you, Democrats.
So all the liberals that are going on and on about how he
they had to reduce. You saw they had to reduce his bond too.
Oh, greatly reduce the bond. Yeah, and then she can't see shit. But all the crazy wacko liberals that are like, he overvalued his shit. They're all looking at all these wacko liberals and they're like, well, here's some clear crime right here. Like, because you claim taxes on this, but it's devalued at this, but then you sold it for this much. Like they're fucking putting whole dossiers together on everybody.
That is the problem with what they're doing. The problem with what
it's opening the door.
The problem with what the Democratic Party is doing is they are not applying the law equally. Okay, they're not applying the law equally, and because they are willing to commit crime, they're just opening the door on themselves. That's all they're doing. They're opening the door on themselves. It's not a conspiracy that the prosecutor was committing crimes. It's not a conspiracy. She was committing crimes because she didn't think anybody would go after her, because that's how liberals believe the world should be, that it should be about me and nobody else.
It's funny when you look at like congressmen when they're having their hearings and shit about the Second Amendment, and they're like, Second Amendment's, we don't need these guns for deer, and they're like, it's not for deer.
Right.
Well, what is it for? And then their eyes, you see them fucking, a couple of them wake up when they realize what that Second Amendment was for.
Yeah. So I don't know. Again.
What did the Supreme Court just rule on the other day? They just had some more.
I don't know. I saw something about Clarence Thomas, but I didn't pay attention to the ruling.
Why is the ATF pushing the suppressor? That's the new conspiracy. Why is ATF releasing suppressors so quickly to people? Like they're buying suppressors and they're getting cleared like in days now.
Because they want to make it convenient. They need to make it as convenient as possible, in order to kind of bring the hype down, right? Because part of the arguments that they're using is that the ATF does take 10 years to fucking do this shit. So why?
So let's get rid of the ATF. So they're on the chopping block again?
No, they're not. It's not ATF on the chopping block. It's suppressors are in the court system right now, and there is a big push. There's actually a big push, and there's a good possibility that we could win, where suppressors are no longer part of their preview, right? Because again, it's firearms. A suppressor is not a firearm.
Well, neither is a bump stock.
No, but I'm saying
an FRT.
a suppressor is not a firearm. And well, if you think even the bump stock and the FRTs, they're in the courts. They're losing those cases. The ATF isn't winning anything. The ATF keeps losing these cases because they're operating outside the guidelines of what they're supposed to be doing, right? So they're losing these cases. So it's better for them. It's better for them to be like, right? For example, if I buy a suppressor tomorrow and I'm like, fuck, I got it in a week. What's the hassle? There's not really a hassle. It's better for them to be Johnny on the spot right now and get these things out so people aren't as upset about these rulings, right? Because again, it's that comfortable, right? The ATF is making people who want to buy suppressors comfortable because they can get them in a reasonable manner.
What's the suppressor cost?
It just depends on manufacturer.
Like what's the range?
200 to like 1,600.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Well, and you have a $200 tax stamp on top of it.
Right.
So
one-time fee is the tax stamp.
Yeah, one-time fee is a tax stamp. And ATF, I know it's a modern age. I'm so bummed that you got rid of the stamps. I thought the stamp was so cool when I got the stamp. I'm like, that is the coolest shit. And now they don't do it.
So once you have your suppressor, you can just carry it in your pocket and your Glock in your other pocket.
Yeah.
No problem.
Once you have in theory too, is your suppressor paperwork is tax information. So the only people who can ask you about, the only people who can be like, let me see your paperwork, is IRS agent and fucking ATF. Local sheriff guy really can't harass you about it because it's tax information. I don't have to show you my tax information.
We actually saw that happen. We were weren't you out there? We were at a Paul Indian reservation, and they were doing a machine gun shoot we got invited out to. And some cops came like blazing in there, some sheriffs or somebody over machine guns, and they were super pissed off. And there was a dude there, and he's like, I'm an ATF agent. I supersede this. These guys are legit, and like you basically told the guy, say fuck off, get out of here, and you can't do shit about this.
Well, that's it. It's not a. The reality is it's not a local jurisdiction thing, because it's not Camden, Tennessee. Like, for example,
and thinking back at it, plus we were on the Indian reservation.
Yeah, Camden, Tennessee, which is weird because the laws on the Indian reservation are actually different. So technically, the tribal police could have got involved because they're at a federal level.
No, this was not tribal police.
No, I know.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying. But technically, tribal police could have showed up and went, "Hey, we don't want you to have guns on."
We have a friend years ago that wanted a suppressor for something. I don't know what he wanted a suppressor for, but he had to go. The sheriff had to sign it off, and the sheriff wouldn't sign it off.
It's still that way.
So he went and talked to the sheriff. It's not that way.
Not anymore.
No, you still get. So when you
They send the info to him, but he doesn't have to.
you still get when you get your suppressor paperwork. So next time, look at it. Or I'm saying not next time, but look at your paperwork. On your paperwork, it will be signed off by either your local sheriff or your
Chief of police.
no, who's the other guy? or the local state trooper. Not state trooper, but the commander of the state troopers. Yeah, all mine.
So
all
if the
mine
sheriff
are, like,
won't sign it, the other guy will sign. Does it have to? What if
They
won't sign it?
I don't know how they do that, because now it's all electronic, right? So again, when I did my first suppressor, I had to go to the sheriff's office and get my fingerprints done and all that, and that paperwork got sent to the sheriff. He signed it, and then it went off to ATF and waited for whatever time period, and then they sent it back to me. Now I use I go through Silencer Shop and use their kiosk. Yeah, use the kiosk. So I don't ever touch paperwork. It's basically all electronically filed, and then it goes. Well, now, because I'm using the electronic kiosk, none of my stuff is signed by the sheriff. All my stuff is signed by, all of it is the fucking Surgeon General of police officers. I don't know, the state trooper dude. It's all signed by somebody else. So
Interesting.
I'm sure it's just an electronic signature too. I bet he doesn't even.
Do you have a silencer where you could just be like cruising around on your four-wheeler on the property and you just want to shoot some snapping turtles, so you just thread it on and you're like, boom, 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 boom. Do you have to wear ear pro with it?
It just depends on what you're shooting.
So our buddy wanted this suppressor, and he finally went and met the sheriff, wanted to talk to him, so he had to go see the sheriff. And the sheriff goes, what's this go on? Because I'm not signing off on anything for a pistol, because pistol silencers are only for assassinations. Like, he literally told him that. And he's like, this is for a rifle.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't sign it.
I believe that. That's the ignorance of it all, right? You're talking about a federally regulated thing. I got to get a tax stamp. I got to get DROS twice, because you have to go through the DROS process once you buy the suppressor. You don't get to pick anything up. And then once it comes back, you have to go through the DROS process again. So both times I'm sending all that paperwork up to the feds to be like, I am legal.
So they got to double check you, but you can still have the gun that you're going to put the motherfucker on.
Well, the reason why is because there's such a time gap, right? So there's such a time gap. I buy the suppressor, I do my DROS process, I send all that paperwork to the feds. It sits on a table for 6 months. They get through it. They're like, okay, approved. It takes another month to get back to me, right? Well, in that time period, I could have committed all kinds of crimes, right? So you got to DROS it again. So basically, you're more legal than legal could possibly be to get this thing. So what is my question to the sheriff would be, you got a big assassination problem around here? Big ninjas or something, big assassination problem? That's what you're really worried about? Is because they're not, again,
right.
Hollywood, there are really no Hollywood quiet suppressors that are very effective.
Right.
I still wear ear pro whenever I'm shooting mine.
If you're not telling us about machine guns or suppressors, we don't want to talk to you. Why are you missing a bunch of machine guns and suppressors?
So, what are we talking about?
I don't know. What were you talking about?
I don't remember.
I don't know. Okay, so
PDWs.
Russian terrorist event.
Yeah, a movie or not a movie theater, but it was a concert or something.
Yeah, Putin had just been reelected.
Yep, of course. I mean, was he elected?
Right. Okay. So
was he elected?
So Putin's on top of the world.
Yeah, he's on top of the world.
And some ISIS guys show up. 4 ISIS dudes start pushing people into the corners and stuff in this big theater hall. And 3 dudes with rifles walk up and just start executing them in the corners of the rooms.
Yeah.
And everybody's like trained military personnel. What I saw is they were kind of shooting like they weren't even shouldering the weapons. They were just fucking killing all these people. They captured 4 of them. They cut one guy's ear off, made him eat it. They're beating the shit out of him, getting the information. They tried to,
as it should be.
They were heading in. Now from where the incident took place to where Ukraine was, I don't know, but they said they captured them trying to go back into Ukraine. They had 3 people sitting there as kind of like the getaway guys, and they've captured 7. They killed 3, captured 4, and they're saying that it's ISIS. Now, a lot of people are like,
who's saying it's ISIS? The Russians?
Russians.
Oh, okay.
The Russians are saying ISIS.
Good.
There's media saying that it's ISIS. Now, Obama was seen the day before, 2 days prior, meeting with the guy who founded ISIS. Apparently, they're trying to tie it to Obama in some manner. There's some weird shit around Obama having a meeting with the guy that is supposed to be the founder of ISIS.
If anybody's going to be killing people, it's them. I think Obama's took over for Hillary.
Maybe.
The torch was passed. Hillary's like, here you go.
And
this is my guy.
And
that
then the
kills
U.S.
everybody.
immediately, the White House is like, we didn't have anything to do with this. This is not a CIA operation, and it's not ISIS. That's like what they came out with. It's not ISIS, and it's not the CIA, it wasn't Ukraine. So Russia's official statement is this is Ukraine, and then Russia, middle of the night, there was a bunch of YouTubers that are like, Russia has just launched 27 bombers capable of nuclear bombardment, and they're about to light Ukraine up. Now, they're like, in 4 hours, they will be on target and Ukraine's gone or whatever. I woke up and started reading the comments, and by the time I saw it, it was 18 hours past. So that didn't happen, but that bombardment did come, and Russia did say that this is from Ukraine, and they have, proof or whatever. Who knows?
Well, I mean, again, Ukraine is at war. Ukraine is at war with Russia, and Ukraine is in a tight spot right now. If, let's say, you had some ISIS fighters, or let's say you had some outside entity that said, "Hey, we want to attack Russia," of course Ukraine would let them through. Of course Ukraine would be. I mean, I'm not saying Ukraine is complicit, but again, if Mo, Larry, and Curly showed up in Ukraine and was like, "Hey, we got this plan. We want to go deep in the heart of Russia and blow some shit up," the Ukrainians aren't going to be like, "No, we don't want you to do that."
An ISIS fighter is always going to be Muslim, right?
Maybe. Who knows now? I mean, who knows?
I just
now?
say that because, I mean, the whole, like, the Bosnia shit. It was all, wasn't it Muslims? Was it Muslims killing Christians, or was it Christians? What were all those mass graves?
It was a little bit of both. A little bit. I mean, I don't want to say it was a little bit of both. It was a lot of both. It was a lot of both. That was a shithole. Not a shithole, but that was a very terrible situation that they were in. And it was because they believed that they could intermix all those communities and nothing bad would happen.
Kind of like New York right now.
And unfortunately, yeah.
Did you see New York? They have another dude. Fucking this dude had been in and out of custody, released 27 times. Just pushed, I believe, a female onto the tracks in the fucking subway, and I don't know. I think she's dead. They have him in custody. They had some fucking dudes in suits and shit grab this motherfucker up. Whoever snatched his ass up. There's a bunch of that. Have you seen all the squatters' rights shit going on?
No.
No, not just New York, man. So it started in New York. This lady inherits a house from her mother, goes to do whatever with this house. It's valued at $1 million. And there's some dudes living there. And they're like, this is our place. So she calls the police. She's like, we'll see about that, motherfucker. And there's all kinds of video recording and shit. There's a news crew when they went back that's with her. And squatters' rights, you can't evict them. You have to take them to court and do the eviction through the court. And the police are like, yes, we understand. It's a very convoluted situation. So she's got a locksmith sitting around the corner, and she's like, I'm changing the locks. And the police are like, if you change these locks,
We'll arrest
we
you.
will arrest you. So the police leave, and she ends up having the guy come change the locks, and the police arrest her, put her in jail. So the news crew's back talking to these guys in the house. And he's like, we have rights. You have to go through the court system. She's going to have to pay us. She's going to have to pay us to leave, and we'll leave. Otherwise, if this drags out beyond 30 days, this is our property. So it comes out that there are a bunch of YouTubers from Venezuela and shit telling people how to do this.
Yeah.
And this is happening in multiple places. I saw a short this morning. This lady's like, okay, so here's the update on the squatter situation. The neighbor,
How could,
the
again,
neighbor to the house that I own said that this dude had a garage sale and sold a bunch of my stuff that is in the house, the appliances and such. So she's talking to the insurance company about this, and the insurance company says, well, we need some information showing that you have resided here. She's like, why would I reside here, and why do I have homeowners insurance on all of these properties that I own? Of course I don't reside here. We were rented, like, like there are more and more. Apparently this is a pretty rampant thing. It's not just one or two isolated incidences.
These individuals don't understand that, again, Americans are comfortable. We are comfortable.
So some vigilantes showed up,
of
whoever that is. Yeah. And two guys got arrested, but they're doing it wrong, man. You just got to walk in that motherfucker. And that's when this whole migrants are able to have guns. They have migrants, illegal aliens, and that's the whole thing, right? They're like, you have these people come out and they're like, they're trying to pass these bills that you can, that migrants, illegal aliens can have guns. And then the White House is like, no, we didn't say illegal aliens. That's because they call them a different fucking name. Yes. Just because you fucking titled them something else.
They title them differently.
And that's the catalyst to this whole, these migrants can all have fucking firearm thing. They have a right to defend themselves.
Well, again, we are comfortable, and
do you think they're
going to keep these individuals? These individuals are going to exploit. They're going to exploit the law to the maximum benefit of themselves.
So when you read,
but eventually, people are going to, like this lady, are going to be uncomfortable, and really bad shit's going to happen. And this whole squatter thing will end. It'll end bad.
So the squatters' rights laws they're clearly not meant for these fucking neighborhoods. They're for these abandoned buildings. If you can revitalize this and bring commerce back, and if you can start a going concern and you reside here and do the repairs, then that's what that shit was meant for. Apparently it's been on the books for 100 years, some of these things.
Yeah, you used to be able to, like, it was real big out in the Palm Springs area, that you could, if you built a homestead, I think it was 1.5 acres of land. If you built a homestead on it, and I don't know what the time requirement was, but it would become yours.
That's like Alaska was.
So when you drive through, if you drive through some of the more rural areas outside, Palm Desert area and shit like that, and you'll see all these one-room cabins just out in the middle of nowhere, and that was people trying to make a go at homesteading. But again, no, if you're walking into a multi-million-dollar, or even why does it have to be $1 million? If you're walking into an empty apartment and you think that you can just stay there for free, it's time for some red berets to come out and start doing some evictions or something, because it's ridiculous.
Do you think it's happening?
What do you mean?
Do you think it's happening and there's a media?
Oh, I am sure. I am sure that there are some people who watched the YouTube video that have gone into a building or a house somewhere and it didn't end well for them. I am sure. But again, in this particular situation that you're talking about, news crews and all that shit, of course, everybody's going to be like, well, the books say. Well, fuck the books. This is, again, the issue with all of this is we know right and wrong. We know right and wrong. Even the sheriff's department's like, well, I'm going to have to arrest you. Wait, you're going to arrest the homeowner for changing the locks, but not
on a house that she has the deed to.
Not the individuals who are illegally inside the house.
It's not even owned by the bank. Like, she owns the motherfucker.
Even if the bank owned it, you still know right.
But it's not even
right and wrong.
Like, it's even beyond that.
So you still know right and wrong. And so, again, the problem is we are trying to, there's a whole generation of individuals in this country who are trying to push agendas that are actually wrong.
Yeah, it's the whole communism shit.
So, whatever. You came from Venezuela because why did you leave Venezuela?
Not only did they come
Because
from
of
Venezuela,
of the stupid politics you had.
Where were they in Venezuela?
I don't know, but
They were in prison in Venezuela.
You're coming from
Venezuela
there because of your fucking stupid politics.
They emptied all their prisons.
Of course, that's what it's no different than what Cuba did. That's the first thing those countries do, but most of those people come here and become
Have you seen all the sheriff's
citizens.
videos? Like, listen, homeowner, we're not sure which homeowner fired the shots. Just, let us know, no problem. We have a pistol training class because you need some training. We expect you to shoot and kill trespassers if they're in your home. Just do a better job next time. Like, this is a sheriff.
Wait, did you see that? The better one is there's one out right now where it's like a post game interview.
I haven't seen that one.
It's a sheriff. It's some again down south because only the coolest are down south.
We are down south.
I think even further down south. I want to believe this was in Alabama, but these teenagers stole a BMW.
I haven't seen this.
They stole a BMW, high-speed chase where the police actually are able to apprehend said suspect. And he's got dude handcuffed on the ground, and he's doing like a post-game interview. It's like, you thought this M5 was fast, but we got the Scat Pack in our and he's like, their vehicle's in the back and shit. The dude's on the ground looking, he doesn't want to look at the camera. And he's like, you got anything you want to say? And then you hear him, he's like, no comment.
So speaking of stealing cars, we have a person we know, and her children live with her mother, and one of the children is 13 years old, and has just decided that he's going to drive grandma's car in the middle of the night, and apparently he's done it once or twice, and he drives down a pretty windy road that a person who hasn't been driving should definitely not be driving grandma's car, and gets stopped, pulled over by the police. Grandma notices the car's gone and reports the car stolen. And when the cops find this kid, they're like, man, you're lucky you're grandma, because if we'd have caught you driving this thing, it would have been very different for you than us, if we didn't know it was actually you in this thing and we thought this was a stolen vehicle. So we're sitting with a few people at dinner last night. I'm like, man, Nobody will control these kids. Nobody's doing anything. I go, the kids need ass whipping. That's the problem. They haven't had any fucking upbringing. I go, we should take all these fucking wayward kids. I go, everybody's complaining locally here about all the fucking trash. I go, give me all these fucking kids. I'll bill the fucking county for the trash cleanup. Give me the kids. We'll get a horse. We'll put Scully with a shotgun on a horse with some aviators. And I got I have all these jail prison balls. We'll fucking put a ball on their ankle. We'll fucking have them drag the ball up and down the interstate and the highway here and clean up all this fucking trash, and we'll take care of these fucking problems.
You went too far with the ball. You can't chain gang them anymore.
Bullshit, they can't. They chain gang them.
They can't chain gang them anymore. You can have them out there in orange vests picking up trash.
They do chain gang them.
You can't chain gang them anymore.
I'm not doing it. Yes, I am. I'm chain gang them.
Can't chain gang them anymore.
They can carry their prison ball.
Okay. I mean, whatever. I like the idea of being on a horse with shotgun and aviators.
They're like, where are you getting a horse? I go, I'll have a horse tomorrow. The horse is the easy part.
Yeah, the horse is the easy part.
The horse is the easy part. I'll bet the parents would give us the kids. Your kid's unruly? Your kid's acting up? Bring them over here.
That would just be a nightmare.
You pay me daycare. The county pays me trash cleanup.
That'd be such
You get a shotgun and a horse.
Such a nightmare.
What shotgun would you use?
Oh, it'd have to be like a
break barrel?
No, I wouldn't use
old Ithaca.
Yeah, maybe something with a hammer. Something with a hammer. It has to be old.
Wouldn't you go with Ray-Bans or what kind of glasses?
No, the aviators. Yeah, that's the way. That's the mirrored aviators. That's the only way you can do it.
Color horse you want?
White.
White horse. I didn't have that one on the. I didn't have that on the bingo card there.
I may be wrong, but I do believe that's what he was wearing that's what he's riding as a white horse. Shotgun sheriff with aviators. Cool Hand Luke. Shaking it, boss. Shaking it. I believe he was riding a white horse.
You might have fucked me up with the white horse. I am very confident that in the next 2 hours I could get a brown.
Oh,
or black horse.
you throw the bat signal out. There'll be a fucking 4 white horses here. One will have a goddamn unicorn horn on it.
I've never seen one in.
Yeah,
I haven't seen one in Camden.
yeah. It doesn't matter if you throw the bat signal out. It'll be like some dude from Canada. I got 4 white horses riding them down tomorrow. Some shit like that.
So is this a hard yes, or are you on?
Oh, John, horse, shotgun, aviator glasses, cowboy hat. I'll go out there right now and just ride around.
How many ground guys you want?
We don't have to have anybody.
Because we're prison balling them.
Yeah, we're gonna prison ball them. It would be cool just to see. You know what? It would be awesome. It would be awesome to set that completely up.
I have 2 prison balls.
No, what I'm saying is, it would be awesome to set that completely up and put all the employees in black and white stripes.
See if anybody says anything.
Start taking them down the freeway and shit. Just start taking them down the freeway. Oh, it'd be hilarious.
Did you see the T-Rex suit?
I wonder if we get in trouble.
Did we show you the T-Rex suit costume?
Oh yeah, the one that's like
it's $8,000.
$8,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one you wear though. Those are expensive.
I got a guy. I want a sign spinner out at the road.
Why shouldn't you? You got a guy that could do it.
I think he probably. I asked him. He said he has spun signs before.
You know what though? If he's gonna spin signs,
Chicken outfit.
No. You know what outfit he has to wear. He needs to be dressed up like the Sasquatch. Yeah.
Somebody would shoot him.
I'm sure that they would try and capture him. Yes.
No, some asshole around here would shoot him.
I'm sure they'd try. That was the big thing in sniper school. Quantico was one of the stock lanes was close to the road, and they would be like, "Don't get anywhere near that fucking road because they will shoot your ass."
There's been people shooting at Sasquatch.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was just recently.
I shoot at him every time I see him.
Yeah, every time
Isn't
I
that
see
what
him.
that guy said?
Yeah, every time I see him. Yeah. Oh shit.
Has anybody been shot?
I don't know. I would think that somebody had, but when somebody says they're shooting at Sasquatch, there's probably a good chance that it's something mythical.
But they probably shot at something.
Something, maybe. Yeah, something. Anyways.
So what do you think about the Russia thing? What do you think it is?
Oh, act of terrorism. Just a act of not domestic, but act of terrorism. It's not the first time that's happened in Russia. There was a couple years, I don't know, it's probably been 8 years now, but it's happened before.
Why do you think there's such a push?
It's a big country.
Why do you think there's such a push right now in mainstream media and government telling you that there's going to be mass casualty events in the United States in the near future?
Because they're prepping the battlefield.
So you think
they're prepping the battlefield.
But why would they do that?
Because they want you ready for it, so when they do tell you have to go in your house and not come out, that you'll just do it.
So do you think there will be mass casualty events?
You got Ron Paul, General Flynn, you got major players, not just those guys, but major players in the federal government that are talking about a black swan event. And I've already talked about this.
What's the definition of black swan event?
It's just a major event that
unplanned for.
I've already talked about this. This election is going to be very cantankerous. Just the election itself, right? It's going to be. It's going to be. There's going to be some issues that are going to. There's some speed bumps for sure. And now you have these. You have people on the right talking about black swan events, some major event that's going to happen, that's going to effectively end the election or
suspend, prevent,
or whatever. And on the left, you have people talking about the same shit. So everybody's talking about this, which means they're prepping you. They're basically prepping you, going, "Hey man, you should get ready for this crazy shit that happened." Now, does that mean something happens? I don't know.
So Bear had some people call in or email in or whatever and said, "Hey, I work at a hospital and Homeland Security has come around and said, hey, we need to have a lot more tourniquets. We need to have a lot more bandages, a lot more mass casualty event type supplies. We need to really up our stocks. So he asked the audience and said, hey, if you have any information, firsthand information, this is you, not my grandma's cousin. And several people were like, yep. And now I mentioned it. Several people said, hey, I work at a hospital. My wife works at a hospital. I'll find out. And then the next night they're like, we hadn't heard of it. But for every dude that said no, there was 2 or 3 guys that are like, yep, this is in fact happening. So it does seem to be happening in government offices and hospitals and, emergency rooms and stuff. You need to really up your fluids. You need to have a lot more stuff on hand for mass casualty events.
I mean, we have a cantankerous situation. You have an election that is going to be hot, right? No matter how you look at it, it's going to be a hot ass election. Shit is going to happen. And we are poking a nuclear power, like poking them with a stick. We are poking every day. We poke Putin and go, I dare you. Dare you every fucking day. If the shoe was reversed, right? If it was reversed and Putin was doing the same shit to us that we are doing to him, we'd have already we would have already sent missiles. It had already been on.
You think so?
Oh, 100% so. It had already been on like Donkey Kong. We'd have been like, so long, Russia.
Think that's a real possibility?
It is a real possibility. The issue at hand
is not mutually assured destruction any longer?
No, because there's a point where it doesn't matter. You have a leader. I don't want to say leadership vacuum, but you have a dude who's been in power for 20 years, 15 years, been the president of Russia, right? He's liquidated. He has gotten rid of anybody under him that is dissenting. So he's at the peak. What does he care? He's not to say he's got a foot in the grave, but he's old and we keep poking him. Why not be the motherfucker who takes, why not go down in history as the guy who takes out America? The question is, he has the same problem. The issue with Putin, which is probably the reason why we haven't had a tactical nuke used in Ukraine, is he has the same problem with his nuclear forces as he does with his conventional forces. They have been robbed, swindled, and the kit isn't as good as we make out that the nuclear forces that Russia has is on par with ours. And it's not. Their kit is just as worn out and unmodernized. And I mean, for the longest time, believe it or not, the Russians were using one of our keyhole satellites to watch the United States because their satellites wouldn't do it right. So we were like, hey, just to make sure you don't think we're going to launch nuclear weapons with you, here, you can fucking watch us. Here's the code, boop, boop, watch it. Because their systems the reality is their systems haven't been updated since the fucking 70s, maybe even the 60s. And so does he really have the capability? I mean, everybody believed that the Russians had the capability to take fucking Ukraine, even fucking Milley and all those other bitch ass generals. They all believed that the Russians had the capability to take Ukraine in 48 hours. That's why we didn't support Ukraine when the Russians were piling up on the border. We're like, you motherfuckers are on your own. We didn't start helping Ukraine until after Ukraine punched Russia in the face and was like, look, they blinked. Now we're like, oh, this is an opportunity for us to fucking kill Russians without killing Russians. That's what all those assholes in Congress are thinking, right? Without Americans having to kill Russians. We can give the Ukrainians guns and bullets and they'll do all the work for us.
Did you see Netanyahu didn't come for the meeting in the United States, didn't show up?
Why would he? You have a federal government right now that is very anti-Jewish, very anti-Israel, very anti-Netanyahu. You've got motherfuckers in this current administration that have been talking.
Well, you have terrorists.
Politically assassination of
You have terrorists.
Netanyahu.
You literally have terrorists in this administration.
So why would he? I wouldn't. Who again? If I was Netanyahu, outside of the fact we give tons of money to Israel, but that's because of the Jewish community that lives in the United States, not because fucking Biden is doing political favors for Netanyahu. I wouldn't give two shits what America has to say, especially about this current situation. That is a completely domestic Israel problem.
How does that play out, you think? How's that end?
What, the Palestinian thing?
Yeah, the whole Israel thing. If we stop supporting Israel, what happens?
Oh, if we stop supporting Israel? If the United States stops supporting Israel, then you're going to have a caliphate in the Middle East where everyone will join hands together to destroy Israel.
How long would that take?
I don't know. They couldn't do it before. Israel.
So I
heard something.
I heard something that I wasn't aware of.
And the other thing, the difference now is Israel actually has nuclear weapons.
Did you listen to Tim Kennedy's interview?
No, I don't know.
He was on. Who was Tim Kennedy on? It was Tim Kennedy on Sean Ryan. I think it was on
Probably.
Sean Ryan. I
Sean
listened to
does
the
the good
first
interviews.
hour or so, a couple hours, and he said the first time you went out, like the first time you deployed, first time you shot somebody, I think is what he asked. He says, we were running through houses and we were finding all of these women and children. They would come through, and he said the men, they would have their hands screwed to a wall where they couldn't move, and they would rape the women and the families and just make the men watch, and then they would kill them. And he said, the same thing just happened in Israel. When they came through and they grabbed all these hostages, they were raping women and children and even boys. And they had a bunch of the adults, they had screwed their hands onto the wall. He said the same exact thing was happening. He said none of that shit was reported when they came through and they actually grabbed up all these 90 hostages. And that's apparently what's been happening with these people that they're trying to recover. But I didn't have that in my head. We just heard, they grabbed them from this venue or wherever this had happened. But there's a lot more to it than what's being reported in the United States.
Oh, of course, yeah, because we have a current administration that protects terrorists.
Well, you have terrorists. You literally have terrorist people who are in support of terrorists in Congress right now.
Yeah. So, of course, we're not hearing it because they control the media outlets, because they put pressure on Google, and Google's bitch ass is going to be like, whatever you say, fucking.
Well, that's why they want TikTok.
Mm-hmm. No, of course, because
they can't
whenever
control X, they want TikTok.
They want TikTok so they can control it.
So how long till you see this stuff start ramping up? How long till we see some shit happen in the United States here? How long you think? Like, if you had to predict, like, you have this long to get out of a major city or else.
Oh, you're not getting out of a major city.
Well, today you could.
Yeah, today you could, but
so
when the thing happens, when the bomb drops or the
mass cat,
COVID
the black swan, whatever,
COVID 2.0 gets released, you're trapped where you're at.
They're shut because they're shutting it down, or because you can't get out.
Because you can't get out. You're trapped where you're at.
Because who's shutting it down?
Well, first off, just the reality of most metropolitan cities is they don't have the infrastructure. They don't have the infrastructure for people to get away. Think about when that tornado or hurricane was coming into Hawaii,
Yeah, they always open both lanes of the road.
Coming into Florida. This just happened a couple of years ago. Both sides of the freeway open. Everybody evacuating. People were still on the freeway for 14 hours. Mm-hmm. Now, those people all had enough warning and time to get out.
They were telling them 2 weeks.
They still were stuck on the freeway for all that time, right? Now imagine if you have 10 hours of notice. Let's just say you're in New York City and they're like, well, because the reality is a ballistic missile will take 30 minutes. So let's just say you're in.
Where'd the ballistic missile come from?
I'm just saying, if we're talking the Russians decide that they're gonna tit for tat blow up fucking New York City or wherever, you only have 30 minutes. The question would be, would the federal government be like, there's a missile inbound to New York City? Would they actually tell them? Because if you have the full 30 minutes. If you have the full 30 minutes, no one's getting out of New York City. No one.
You think they got an Iron Dome around D.C.?
Fuck no. We don't have Iron Dome.
You don't think so? You think
No.
Israel has it, but we don't have one?
Yeah, we don't have one.
You don't think so?
No,
Because the plan is to move everybody subterranean?
our internal defense systems are lacking because the United States has never been really attacked.
Good
So there's
point.
no
I mean, our
there's
bridges
no
are falling down.
there's no
trains
reason to have an Iron Dome.
I thought we
only-
provide.
again,
I thought all the Iron Dome
Think about it.
ammunitions are provided by the United States.
We do, but think about it. The only reason why the Israelis have an Iron Dome, only reason why they have one, is because they were getting the shit blown out of them by rockets all in the 80s. So they had created an Iron Dome for that. Everybody, no matter what, when you think about most major technology, it's reactive. It's reactive. We won't create an Iron Dome in the United States until missiles actually start hitting
So
the
you
United
think
States.
not being able to leave the major cities is just because of congestion? It's not because they're going to have martial law or they're going to close down.
There'll be a certain amount of martial, but you can't,
A lot of people say that
10 million people.
all the National Guard right now in the subways in New York is just conditioning people
Yeah,
for
it's
coming
conditioning.
martial law.
It's conditioning.
They
people
just added hundreds more apparently in the last couple of days.
You have a federal government that doesn't want you to search illegal aliens coming across the border, but they're searching people in the subways.
That's what it's a trip. I get pushback when people on the live feeds. The other night I said, they said, what do you think about this, the bridge? I go, I don't know. But in the end of it, within the next 6 months, there's going to be a bunch of laws passed that go against U.S. citizens, not whoever perpetrated whatever crime it was. I go, think about it. The Twin Towers go down, and now they all of a sudden, you got a 1099 for PayPal. They have to have access to your safe deposit boxes. They have access to all of your cell phone records, and you have to take your shoes off at the airport, which had nothing. It hasn't prevented anything.
No.
They're coming right across the fucking border. They're not doing shit about what's coming across the border, but it takes you still fucking an hour to go through to get on an airplane, which are all falling out of the sky, by the way.
Well, they're not falling. I mean, they might be.
Parts are coming off.
Parts
of
are
them.
coming off. I mean,
All right, I got to pee. Hang on. Are you on iPhone?
of course.
Which one you got? The 7?
I got whatever the newest one is.
The iPhone 12? What are they up to? 26? 26? The fucking new Samsung is like $2,500?
So it's like twice as much as an iPhone.
Yeah. Imagine they used to give them away.
And everybody says iPhones.
They used to give power away. They used to give power away.
They used to give it away. That's
I follow this dude. He's a kid, and he plays piano, wears a top hat, and just works on old appliances. And he bought himself a light bulb from 1920.
still works.
Still works. And the light bulb from 1920 goes in this socket. It doesn't thread in. It has a compression thing that goes in. Apparently, the first light bulb that was lit in the United States is in California, and it's still burning. They're not as bright as today's light bulbs, but they were made where they would not fail. They still today, you can still buy these light bulbs from the 1900s. And they cost about $20 a piece.
Do they work?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah, they still function.
I mean, that's just like the refrigerator that your grandpa had in the garage.
Have you seen dude? Those freezers and fridge. I send them to Brandel all the time.
Yeah.
They were metal. They would hold 100 pounds on every shelf. The shelf would rotate out. Dude, and there's companies right now. There's you were saying, they'll always be artists, right? They'll always be the high end because dudes want original stuff.
Yeah.
And there are guys on Instagram right now you can buy. They buy up these 1950s refrigerators and completely refurbish them. Like that one that I showed you at the antique store last week. I'll bet that motherfucker works.
Probably.
It'd be badass sitting in there living 1950s looking. They're just so much better. How many dudes do you know that have bought a refrigerator and every 18 months I got to buy a new refrigerator now?
Well, it's because now they make them. They make
do.
them
Yeah.
too
Same
fast.
with your washer and dryer. Mm-hmm. So we were talking about leaving the city. What's your prediction? When does this shit start popping off? What are we right now? March, January, February, March?
I think August, September. I think come August, probably more September-ish, things are going to start pointing in the direction right? Things are going to start. There's going to be things where you're like,
So should we be like, because the next SRF will be October. There's one next week.
no, there won't.
Next one's in October. Should we be like, hey, if you're coming to SRF, bring some extra stuff because you might want to have to stay here.
Maybe.
A lot of empty houses here.
Maybe. I don't know if October.
Too
October
late?
might be too late.
You think
October
you think
might be
SRFs?
tight.
Maybe
Might be tight.
we're not gonna have room here.
When
to
is
do
SRF?
October?
But when in October?
I don't know.
Because elections are November 4th.
You're gonna be like, we couldn't have SRF anyways. We're gonna have too much firewood here.
Yeah, probably. The election's November 4th, so they can't wait. If bad actors, I'm just going to call them that, if the deep state and bad actors want to do something to stop the election, November's too late. Really, end of October is too late. So
Are you worried?
October is when I'm not worried about anything. Well, I mean,
Would you be more worried about a missile from Russia or nonsense inside the United States?
nonsense from the missile from. Well, okay, missiles from Russia. It doesn't matter.
Correct, because nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, well, nothing you can do about it.
If
and
they
is gonna-
launched missiles, where would their missiles go?
well, every major metropolitan city and every major military installation.
You think they bomb Nashville?
No, but we live really close to Clarksville.
You live close to Clarksville.
We live really close to Clarksville. I think
you got some mountains between you.
I think I am out of. So tactical nuclear weapon. I think I'm out of range of the initial blast, but the radiation is going to get you anyway.
If you knew it was coming, would you head here?
No.
Where would you go?
I would go somewhere. I'd probably go to. I'd probably go to. What do I want to say? Because people
Okay.
would go. I would go underground.
Okay.
You got to go underground. You have to stay underground for at least 30 days. But again, I don't know. I'm old, right? Does it matter?
You're not just going to bury some shipping containers?
No, I'm not going to.
You can't do that bullshit.
I don't have enough time, anyways.
Should I encase the whole compound with shipping containers?
I mean, you can. They're terrible. They're terrible perimeters.
Why?
Because you have two walls.
Explain that to me.
So you basically have two walls.
They can breach one.
And
you don't know
the wall you see is intact, while they can breach the outer wall, and then they can just start filling that fucker up with explosives.
Oh, okay.
Right.
What if we just used it to use? What if you had it cut firing ports and you just used it as a walkway all through there?
Well, you could do that, but then again, you've got to. If you're cutting firing ports, then you have to man those firing ports.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You have to have guys.
What if we just filled them with concrete?
Well, you could fill them with concrete, but then
It's a lot of fucking concrete.
you could also just use the concrete to make walls.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't have enough time. I just don't have enough time.
I just saw a van driving it. I think it was a van, some kind of truck, and it was deploying like 8 rows of triple wire.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I just saw it. They have it apparently.
Yeah, they have all that shit. Marine Corps doesn't, though. They still put it out manually. I don't know. Again, if a missile's coming from Russia, we do have assured mutual destruction, and the amount of nuclear weapons that we get, even if.
Well, a lot of people say not this Monday, but next Monday, the eclipse is when there's an asteroid that's supposed to be able to be seen coming towards the Earth at the same time. The eclipse goes over 8 cities that are Nineveh in the United States.
Okay, you just said so. The eclipse is nothing. The eclipse is a scapegoat.
Why is everybody deploying National Guard?
The eclipse is nothing, right? It doesn't mean anything. But you just hit on something that really could tie everything in.
Why they're all building bunkers and all the shit's going on?
If you're gonna have an asteroid impact, you're gonna have mass casualties. So maybe somebody at NASA's like, this motherfucker might hit us.
Apparently, there's been several of them that missed us by like 4 hours or 4 days or
They come close every now and then. I mean,
Planet killer shit.
maybe. I don't know. But I again, the issue is it's not like the old days where only a few people could look at space. Everybody looks at space now.
Do you remember?
So I think you'd have the fucking North Koreans shooting missiles off to try to hit it or something.
Do you know anything about they closed a bunch of observatories?
No.
In the last few years, they closed. The government shut down a bunch of private observatories. Blackhawks landed at several observatories. You don't remember this?
No.
There was one in Arizona. There was a few of them. Blackhawks landed. Helicopters landed. They took some people with them, and they've shut down all these observatories.
I don't know.
I heard somebody mention this, and I vaguely remember this. I heard somebody mention it the other day on, I don't know where I saw it, on not TikTok. I've been kicked off of TikTok, but somewhere.
You got kicked off of TikTok?
I've lost control of my account on TikTok.
How?
My personal account. I don't know how. I've lost control of it. I do the recover password, but it never sends the password to me. My account's there. I just can't use it. The Pulling the Thread podcast is account's there.
Is Austin getting the password?
No, this is my personal account. Austin I have access to the other account, the business one.
Oh, okay.
But like my personal account, so it's always a pain in the ass when people send me shit. I got to click 10 things to see it. So that's the account it's going to. So I'll do, hey, fucking, here's my shit, recover my password. It doesn't come to me. I never get it. So I'm just kind of like, I'm like, fuck TikTok.
There's a cool ass Chinese kid in Hong Kong right now.
It's got all the SOE shit. No, there's no posts on it. There's not been any posts to it. Yeah. So, all right. Well, we're going to jump off of here.
All right.
And we're going to do the Patreon questions. There was quite a few of them.
Don't worry. Everything's going to be fine.
Don't worry.
Your government is well at
About
hand.
a thing.
They will take care of everything.
Every little thing. See, I sound reggae. It's these microphones. I hate reggae.
But you know the words. Imagine that.
Because we're doing it as a rap song.
Oh, okay. All right. Is that it? What music? What are you going to push?
I don't know. I'm not going to give them any music.
Why not? What podcast is this? Did we even say that?
You didn't say.
What podcast is it? 66.
68?
67.
No, there's no way it's
Pulling the
67.
Thread podcast, episode 67.
Can you loop that and make it in the front?
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah.
It'll be there.
Oh.
All right, guys, if you use Amazon, if you'll click any of the description on any of the videos, there's a link to Amazon. If you use Amazon, it gives us a few percentage points of your order. Everybody knows they're the devil. So take some money away from it and help us out. It does that for any content creator. Anytime you see some content creator using Amazon, that's what it does. In the next 48 hours, anything you order, it gives us a percentage of your order. EMP Shield. Now that we're always talking about the government's telling you prepare for blackouts and such, you might want to have an EMP shield. The power might not come back on, but it'll allow you to still use your devices because they're not fried if you have EMP on that shield on that circuit. And you can get an EMP shield with code SOE. It'll give you $50 off your order. Maybe it's not too late if you ramp up and start doing some freeze drying and putting some food in some Mylar bags and buckets, and you can get a Harvest Right freeze dryer by using the code under the affiliate links on the website. And if you would like to use some Redcon 1 products, the affiliate code for that is also SOE Gear. Be sure to check out Jeff's channel, Decals, Dog Kennel and Little Spoon. And he's got a Patreon there as well. And you ask questions and he builds videos. And Jeff gives a lot of shit away. Like you are silly not to be one of his channel supporters over there. Right?
I do give some shit away.
I'm going to join just so I can get some of that.
We're going to give an ACOG away.
I'm going to make a bunch of fake profiles and join.
So we can win all the shit. We'll just keep giving it back to him to give away.
That'd be
all right.
work.
All right, guys. We'll see you over on the Patreon videos. You like that, don't you? You want it to be your ringtone? This ain't a game, boy. We're ready for the end of days.
Good one.